Hello everyone. Today in this video we are going to see the next generation of mobile communication. In the previous videos we have seen the GSM, which is the second generation of mobile communication, and it was a digital mobile communication system. Now this is next step to that second generation, but this is not the third generation. So this is in between second and third generation. That's why GPRS, or General Packet Radio Service, which is the full form of GPRS, is usually known as 2.5G. Okay, it is neither a third generation not a second generation, so it is called as 2.5G. We can call it as a first step towards the 3G. Okay, so let's see what is this GPRS all about. So as I said, full form of the abbreviation GPRS is General Packet Radio Service. So from this what we can conclude is that it is a radio service. That means it will be a wireless communication. Then it is based on packet, general packet. So it is based on packet. Packet means what? Packet switching. In the GSM we used to have circuit switching, and now for GPRS we are moving towards the packet switching. So is the entire communication packet switching based? No. Voice communication is still circuit switching based, but data communication can be switched to packet switching based network. So what is the difference between circuit switching and packet switching? For that you have to revise your concepts of computer networks, the difference between circuit switching and packet switching. Okay, so in this GPRS, which is a packet switching based network, we are using free slots only if we have a data to send. Okay, so usually in the circuit switching you are dedicated one slot in every frame. Whether you transmit your voice or data, that doesn't matter. But in GPRS you will not be allocated a dedicated slot. Whenever you have a data slot, you have to capture the free slot and transmit the data. So that is a way of accessing the media. Okay, that is a different point of discussion, so let's not get detail into that. But because of this usage of free slots for data transmission, we can achieve higher data rate. So no slot or no channel remains idle throughout the existence. How? If I don't have a data to send, I will not access a time slot. That means somebody else can use it. So entire efficiency of the system is increased, as well as that gives you additional data rate. Okay, whenever you have data to transmit, you can transmit, so you will get much higher bandwidth compared to the GSM system. So for example, 50 kbps using floor slots temporarily. Okay, so if you recall, it was about 16 to 33 kbps. This is minimum 50 kbps. Okay, we are talking about. So when GPRS was standardized, it was standardized in 1998, but it came into the commercial world in 2001. So one of the main advantages of this GPRS system was it was more flexible, and it was the first successful step towards the third generation, which was intended to be completely packet switch based mobile communication service. Okay, so drawback or limitation of this particular GPRS is you need more investment. If you are going to have a better technology, you will need a more investment, and investment in terms of not only intelligence but investment in terms of new hardware and software also. So GPRS generally provides a packet mode transfer, that is packet switching, for application which exhibit a traffic pattern such as frequent transmission of small volumes. So what are the packets? Packets are a group of small bits, or a small group of bits. So small volumes are transmitted at frequent intervals, that is achieved via packet transfer, and that's why GPRS is providing this packet mode transfer, wherever you are transmitting a traffic at frequent rate and in terms of small volumes. So overall goal in this context is to provide better efficiency and cheaper data transfer service for typical internet connections. Okay, internet connections can also be circuit switch based, but they are generally preferring packet switching networks, and since they are using packet switching, it is more costly. So to provide a cheaper alternative, GPRS has been introduced. Another advantage of this GPRS is that we have a volume based charging and not the connection based charging. The meaning of that is the amount of money that you are charged for communication is solely based on how much data you are transmitting or receiving, and it is not based on how long you are transmitting or receiving. For example, let's say we are using a GSM and we are using the internet for GSM, which is a WAP services, and in GSM, if we are using that internet for 1 hour, no matter how much data you transmit or receive, you will be charged based on 1 hour. Whereas in GPRS, if you are using this internet for 1 hour, then you will be charged based on amount of data transmitted or received in this particular session. So that is called as volume based charging, that is amount of data transmission and reception, and not connection based charging, that is not on the based of amount of time involved in the communication. Okay, so that is a big difference. So that reduces the cost required for communication. Then another advantage is it exhibits a always on characteristics. One of the key difference of circuit switching and packet switching is that circuit switching is connection oriented, whereas packet switching is connection less. That means you have to establish a connection in circuit switching, whereas in packet switching you don't have to establish a connection. Whenever you have a data to transfer, you can simply transmit it into a free slots. So if there is no connection establishment as such in GPRS, you can always keep your GPRS connection on. You will not be charged for keeping your connection on. You will be charged only when you will transmit or receive a data. So always on is another good service or better service provided by the GPRS compared to GSM. So what are the advantages we have seen? First of all, packet switching, which allows you volume based charging, and then always on, that means you don't have to every time establish a connection for communication. Okay, so let's see the architecture, because in previous slide we have seen that more investment is needed. So where exactly investment is needed? This is the architecture of our GPRS network. If you see closely, most of the components were already present in the GSM system. There are certain new components. Let's see them one by one. Okay, so which are the common components? MS was present in GSM, VLR was present in GSM, MSC is also present in GSM, BSS present in GSM, EIR also present in GSM, HLR also GSM based, PDN was also, that is not part of GSM, but PDN was also mentioned in the GSM architecture. So three new components are SGSN and GGSN, two SGSNs and one GGSNs. Okay, so what are these all? We will see one by one. First of all, if you look closely, the interfaces are also improvised. The wireless interface is only one interface similar to GSM, that is UM. This is wireless or radio interface. Okay, all other interfaces are wired interfaces. Okay, in GSM we had ABC interface, A interface, O interface. Now here we have different interfaces. Different interfaces means different standardization of making a connection. So you have a GN interface between SGSN and GGSN, or two SGSNs, and GB interface between BSS, that is base station subsystem, and SGSN. Whereas GGSN is interfaced via a GI interface to external IP networks or external packet networks. Okay, that is packet data network. So let's see each component one by one. So GPRS network elements, what are they? Three new elements, two are SGSNs and one is GGSN. So this GSN stands for GPRS support nodes. Now, GPRS support nodes, what are they actually? They are actually routers. So the first router is gateway GSN. As the name suggests, it is a gateway between GPRS network and external packet data networks such as IP or X.25. Okay, so gateway GSN acts as a gateway between GPRS network and packet data network. So what does these routers contain, or these GGSN contain? It contains routing information. Obviously it is a router, so it has a function of routing the packets, so it has to contain a routing information. Then another function of router is performing address conversion. That means for that you have to revise your concept of again computer network, converting private IPs to public IPs, or converting IPs from one network to another network. Okay, then third function of this router is tunneling the data to a user via encapsulation. This part will be more discussed in the mobile IP concept later on in the syllabus. This is a type of mobile IP concept, so we will discuss that later on. Then the last or another function is connection to the external networks via GI interface, that we have already discussed, and transferring packets to other SGSNs via backbone network, which is connected via GN interface. So all in all, GGSN is a router basically, which is whose primary function is routing the packets via different interfaces. Okay, so let's see the next router. There are two SGSNs, or more than two also possible if your geographical area is large one. So SGSN is called as serving GSN. So as the name suggests, these routers serve actual users. If you have followed GGSN closely, GGSN is a communicator between network and external network, but SGSN is a router that actually provides services to user. So the first task of SGSN is supporting the mobile user via GB interface. Now supporting means what? Keeping the location updates, counting the bytes which are used by the user, providing the security to the user. That is nothing but supporting the MS. So whenever a mobile user wants to transmit a data, it requests user addresses. These user addresses are obtained via GPRS register by SGSN. So whenever you send a request for data transmission, GPRS register which holds the user addresses, those addresses will be given to the SGSN, and SGSN gives that address to user, that is mobile user, because for transmission and reception of data packets you need to require addresses like IP address or MAC address. Okay, MAC address is built in to your handset, but IP address will be dynamically assigned. Then third task of this SGSN is keeping the track of individual mobile users location. That location updating is done by SGSN. It is also responsible for collecting billing information. Okay, this information is not stored in SGSN, it is just collected by the SGSN. Now what is billing information? Counting the bytes, received bytes as well as transmitted bytes, okay, by the particular user. The next function of SGSN is providing security functions such as access control and encryption of data for the communication. So if you follow all the functions of this SGSN, you can conclude that it is basically on the same hierarchy level as an MSC. So SGSN does the same task that of MSC in the GSN. SGSN is for GPRS, whereas MSC is for GSM. Both are analogous. Okay. So this is the SGSN. And last part is GR, which is also called as HLR in GSM. So whatever the functions of HLR in GSM, same functions are observed in a GPRS register GR on the GPRS. Okay, so what is HLR doing in GSM? It is storing user relevant information. So GR also stores all the GPRS relevant data like IP addresses, MAC addresses, and the context of the user. Okay, what do you mean by context? We will see later on. But storing user relevant but not entire user information. Only that information which is required for GPRS is stored in the GR register or GPRS register. Okay, whereas HLR stores everything about user, whereas GR stores only GPRS related information of the user. So how do we send the data in this particular system? So before sending any data over this GPRS network, mobile user has to attach to the network. Although there is no connection establishment, you should be attached to the network before transmission. Just like we are turning on our mobile internet connection, that is nothing but initiating the process of attachment. Okay, when we turn off the mobile internet from our handset, we are getting detached. Okay, so you can see that on your mobile handsets as well, there is a icon to turn on the internet and turn off the internet, that is MS attachment and MS detachment. It is a part of mobility management procedure. So when attachment procedure is started, what does it include? When attaching a user to a network means assigning some temporary identities to the user, similar to the GSM where TMSI is assigned for hiding your identity. Here for data connection, mobile user is assigned TLLI, that is temporary logical link identity. Okay, similar to TMSI. Then for keeping your data communication secure, that data is encrypted, and for encryption you will require cipher key. So you are assigned a ciphering key sequence number, CKSN, for data encryption. Okay, and the last term that is done during this attachment procedure is creation of mobile user's context. Okay, what is the context? So context comprises a status of a mobile user. That status can be ready, idle, or standby. What are the meaning of these states that we will see later on. Then your CKSN, which is just assigned. Then there is one flag which indicates whether compression is used or not used. If it is used, what type of compression is used, and routing data. How to route this data to particular user, that information is also stored in the context. So routing data includes TLLI, routing area, cell identifier, in which cell this packet has to be transferred, like that. Okay, channel, different channels are used for transmission of packets. All this information is stored in the routing data. So context includes your status, your CKSN, flag, and routing data. Okay, so this mobility management procedure also comprises functions for authentication similar to GSM, and location management and ciphering. Okay, now here the primary difference between GSM and GPRS in terms of ciphering is that the ciphering lies between mobile station, that is user, and SGSM, which is more than in standard GSM. So if you compare this with the GSM, data is encrypted between mobile station and BSS or BTS. Sorry, I should write here BTS. This is for GSM. In GSM, data is encrypted for this particular connection. For GPRS, data is encrypted for mobile station and SGSN, whereas SGSN is equivalent to your MSC in the GSM. So it is going beyond the scope of GSM. So your data is kept private over a larger period of time compared to GSM. So the three states that we have seen in the context, idle, standby and ready, what are those? Idle mode means mobile station is not reachable. So when mobile station is not reachable, obviously it is of no use to keep the context of it. So all the context will be deleted. Standby mode, that means only the movement across routing area is updated, but not the changes of the cell. Okay, so if you are currently in a particular routing area, if you are in your home and you are roaming around in your home, your location may be updated, but if you change the cell, that won't be updated in the standby mode. And the ready mode is when user moves from one location to different location, which may be outside the cell also. Every movement will be indicated to the SGSM. So what are the different scenarios in which these three modes can be observed? Idle mode, that means your data connection is on, you are stationary and you are not transmitting anything. So your mobile is keypad is locked, you are just sitting and watching a TV. Your mobile will go on the idle mode because connection is established, that is mobile station is attached, not connection is established because this is packet switching. Your mobile station is attached because your internet connection is on, but you are not using it and your phone is locked. That's why it will be in idle mode. You are not using your phone. Then what is the standby mode? Your internet connection is on. You are carrying your phone while roaming around the home. So you are not leaving your cell. So your location will be updated, but it won't be transmitting any data. At the ready state, when you are transmitting a data while roaming, that will be ready state. Okay, so this is about GPRS system and its architecture. In the next video, we will see the protocol architecture of the GPRS, what different protocols are used in the GPRS system. Because this is a packet switch based network, the set of protocols will be different compared to the GSM protocols. Okay, till then, thank you.